children came to this daycare here in Baptist, so I have history here at this church. From a baby, I think Mom said I was maybe 6 or 7 months old. I came here and I was here till I was in kindergarten. So I started the SolsWriteHouse Work Initiative because as things started shutting down in East Knoxville, they started shutting down vocational programs. Our youth, my son, my oldest son is 33, I believe. He's the last generation that really got the solid workforce type of anything. Because now all that's taken from the community. And you look at this side of town, it's very dark. It isn't as urbanized. You see certain areas that are, Chihuahua Hills only go so far, and then you pass a certain area, and then boom, there it is. And then you get over the hill to those cities, and then it's back to the way, like how I like to see things. And so what we have done is started an initiative through the SolsWriteHouse. Through my tragedy, I'm turned into triumph. I was able to get my kids raised. All my kids, 2 died. I share that in my book. Of just how being young and losing children so young, I was angry at God for a very long time because you're not supposed to bury your kids. I know you're supposed to bury your parents. You don't even want to do that, okay? But to lose your own kids, and that's what's happening in our community. This happened to me 20 years ago. So as God started to elevate me, use me for His kingdom, have me sing, I wanted to be an R&B singer, all that other stuff too. But tragedy hit and changed my course. And as I stated, about 10 years, I was lost, though. I was hurt everywhere, all over the place. But then as God, I had my encounter with God, and He brought me back to the whole root of my issue was that I was a singer and a writer. And He said a lot of things, and a lot of pain, a lot of things you're going through. There's so many people that's going to go through it. And I didn't realize it then, because I'm not thinking nobody's going to be losing their children. This happened to me in 91 and 89. So as God was starting to have me write books and have me to start mentoring women and mentoring domestic violence women, as I was going through it, I was understanding my path because I was coming encounter with women as I was being rebellious and mad at God. I was running into people who were mad at God, and they were rebellious for the tragedies that happened in their lives. So many of them weren't losing kids, but it was still their own tragedies. And what God was showing me was, I'm going to prepare you to write books. I don't want you to promote them. I just want you to do them, put them on Amazon, get them out there, record music, sing, put it out there, just sing some messages for God. Do this in my honor without trying to give yourself any glory. So for about 8 years now, I have been doing just that. I got more than this book. I have about 13 on Amazon. I have about 38 songs it allowed me to record that I didn't want to promote and do, try to make myself big, because He knew that the door that could have opened for me, that the devil would have opened it for me. And He knew that if I had gotten that secular world, I would not have worked for the kingdom. When you go through the hurt that you go through, and you have an opportunity to make 50,000 or 100,000 or 300,000 in a community like ours, I would have went for it. I know I would. Because being angry at God, I wouldn't have saw the kingdom and the benefit of sitting down and writing and sitting down and singing songs and sitting down and being a vessel for other people that are going to hurt. I didn't see that, but God saw it. And I'm thankful because as I'm being risen up now, He's rising me up. He's raising me up now. People our kids. We had a group of kids write a compilation book, and we sent it to President Obama, and then we got a certified letter of recognition from him. He mentioned him on TV. He invited us to the White House. We just ended up having a snowstorm here, and they had one, and we weren't able to go. But I started to see what God was doing. But once again, I didn't want to be taking the glory. God says certain tests are going to come into your life to see if when you do get a little, when you get a little of this right here, is it going to go to your head, and are you going to forget about me, and is it going to be about you now, and this, that, and the other. And I realized I still wasn't ready to be in the limelight for nobody because of the hurt that I've been through. I was trying to get through this right here, through all this pain. And I'm like, God, if I can just speak about this, before I can run a business, before I can be an organization, before I can be help anybody, I got to know why I went through this. I was told never to ask you. Never question me. I got to question me. Why did I have to go through this? At such an early age, my mom and my dad are my sources that outside of you, everything I've ever been through in life, you said that they would have tried it. But this is something in my life that they've never been through, so they can't even help me. So who's supposed to help me get through this? And I thank God that I was able to go through what I went through, challenge many challenges that I challenged. But when I was able to get to the root of my pain, get these books out, share with other people, that's when Davion Dobson got killed. And his mom came to me, we went to school together, and that's when tragedy started to hit in our community. It's been going on, but not so randomly back to back to back to back to back. This every time we turn around, these babies are getting killed. And then when I sung at that boy's funeral, God, I had another encounter with God. And he said, did I not tell you to be prepared, to write books, to sing songs, because they're going to need you. And I was like, oh my God. And so he said, get this book out. Like I said, there's 13 on Amazon. But the books I write, I had a son go to prison for about 18 months. Got in a little trouble. Don't even know why they sent him to prison for some check fraud or something. I'm thinking, you sending him there for that? But it was his test. You know, he wasn't going to bury children and go through the same test I go through. We all go through our own tests in life that God has to sit you down, because I know I'm a remnant. And I know my kids are remnant. So my son's test was being sent down in prison. So I said, God, how can I reach my son in there? He's in there with gang members, people that have really, really done some bad stuff. And I'm not saying writing a bad check ain't bad, but it ain't worth being in there. So then God said, get your books to your son in there, and then get them to other people in there while he's in there. And I'll cover him. And we talking about a kid probably 138 pounds, like trying to be in prison, okay? My fear was for him. But God said, don't fear for him, because once again, I tell you to create some books that are self-help books, and the books that you've created are planner books, songwriting books, spoken word, poetry books, planners that they can keep up with all year. He made me very creative in the books that I wrote. I didn't just write books that are just stories. He had me to do books that made them be accountable, that made them answer questions, made them seek out answers. The same way he made me seek them out when I was doing it. He said, didn't I tell you that all these books you got out there, didn't I tell you that it was going to be used for something? I said, yes, Lord. Get them to the inmates in prison. So as you'll see on our pamphlet here, we are now up to, probably on our website, we are up to about 4,500 books now that we've gotten to inmates in prison since 2014. My son only did, the 18 months he was able to get out, change his life, you know, moved on, doing right, but it was the books that I was sending to him that people, when he read the book, he would pass it on and say, hey, you need to read this. And they would read it and they pass it on. So then finally I contacted the prisons and said, how can I get my books in prison? And they said, well, you can't mail them to us. I said, well, how can I get them to you? Because my son wants a book. He said, well, you're going to have to start a company. So once again, God had already set me up. As I was being obedient, not trying to be in the world and do secular music and do my own thing. And this is to anybody on live stream with you that I'm talking to, that you be attested and you thinking if I just do secular, I can make it. Because it's a trap. But God has already put the gift in you. He said your gift will make room for you. I ain't no millionaire yet, but I'm a millionaire coming. Because he knows when he give it to me, I'm going to give it away. He already knows. Because he tests me all the time. He'll have me have people buy books, and the books are bought already. And I can have 100 books on my shelf, and someone will come in and want to buy it, and I won't take their money. Because they're already bought. That means I got to give them away. It's like all these books are free. Because when someone sows seeds and they buy them, and I'm able to take them and do what I do, the books are free. So sometimes the devil will come in and be like, well, girl, let me buy this one and this one. I'm like, well, no, you can have it. Well, I want to sow a seed. Well, sow a seed into our organization, but you're not buying a book. Because they're already paid. But God will test you like that. He said test the spirits. So I want y'all to know that as I was told to start a business so I could give the books to the inmates in prison, which was going to help them to my son, I started the SolsWriteHouse, S-O-L-S, not S-O-U-S. And I said, well, why souls? And he said, situations of life stories is what it's going to stand for. And it starts with your own stories, which is where the root of my pain came from. They're gonna be 7 chapters that help you, because it becomes a book that you start writing. So when they started getting these books, God said, I don't want you to, I was trying to write a book like, God, I need 75,000 words, and I was trying to do all this stuff how writers write. I'm thinking, I need this many words. God said, no, I want you to get to the point. You may want to do 50,000 words, but about 40,000 of them gonna be a waste of time. Because some people gonna miss the mark and all them adjectives and adjectives and all that, draw out the line. You're gonna miss a lot of souls. You just need to get to the point. Don't make this book about let me get to the end and I gotta read the second book to find out what happened. He said, no, you need to start off and let them know your child died in chapter 1. First line, tell them. It's gonna draw you in. It ain't gonna make you wait to the middle. Because you might lose a soul that ain't gonna finish it. Because it's only about a 55-page read. I was like, why are they so short? He said, go get to the point. Because we got to save souls. We ain't got time. We already got a Bible out here. If you write about everything happening in your life, well, your book going to be bigger than the Bible. I was like, you know what? That's the truth. Because when Jesus was here 33 years, and I mean, this book is 1,000 or something. I said, Lord, I've been here 49. Can you imagine my book? He was like, because you've been through some channels that Jesus didn't go through, so your chapter is going to be long. And I was like, God, that's why he said, get to the point. Don't go in here researching how to be no author. I'm your author. I'm your author. So through me, right. So my chapters, and he has me do all of them, all my chapters, the 7 chapters, it's the root, the truth, the reality, the restoration, the gifts, the blessing, and the message. Because that's the point he wants to get across to you. Don't take a whole book. He said, you don't need to get that word to get that across. You need to let them know, my son died. Tell them how. Tell them what you felt. But how you going to get through? You tell them. Because you're going to get through. Because you woke up and said, I had to see that. But when you're going through, you don't see that. But he said, I'm going to help you get you to root of your pain. And then, now that you got the book, you done wrote it, you got the anger out, all the hurt that happened in the midst of all this. Because there's some hell that happened in the midst of them 7 chapters. Hurt, pain, I lost a lot. Not just them 2 kids. I lost 2 of them. There was some other stuff. And as you started to see stuff being taken away from me, I felt like Job. I'm like, I'm sitting up here reading a story of a man that is me. But he said, at the end of the day, you'll start this business, you're going to get these books to these inmates in prison. Then it's going to transfer to women in transitional houses. But it's touching life. Then these people getting out of prison, they're looking for you. Are you broken? I said, no. You got something to offer? I said, yes. More books. More inspiration. More encouragement. Now I open an organization. I got connected with Honey Rock Victorious Church. They used to see me out there at that 4-way stop. We used to do collections and help me pay rent at different buildings we have. Because God said, get a building, get these kids in there, teach them how to publish books, help them learn how to be a voice, self-help books, learn about the word, create your own stuff, planners, whatever kind of book you want. Why you just limited on the books you buy? Why can't you create your own? So I started to do that. That's what happened. I created the SolsWriteHouse, Situation of Life Stories. We started out on the east side. We was on 6th Avenue. We was downtown. I've been out west on Middlebrook, Wise Barber. I mean, our stuff started to expand. So then Honey Rock got a hold of us and found out what we was doing and all these kids we were serving. So then I started a computer program. I said, well, Lord, now that they're writing these books, they need computers. Let's see, let me show you how God had me ahead of COVID with the Bible thing. Let me just show you how God had me ahead of that. He said, kids don't need computers. I said, okay. This was in 2014. He said, they don't need computers. So what I want you to do is, you need to partner with an organization that can help you get computers. I was lost. Like, well, who in the world? Well, I had a laptop sitting on the table. One of your kids knocked it off the table. Came through with it. I was like, well, Lord have mercy, Lord. At that time, I can't afford no $500 for a computer. So they told me to call Compassion Coalition. See, it's all about networking a lot of times. You know, you got to learn to use resources that you have. So they said, contact Compassion Coalition. So I contacted them and made the contact. She said, well, I want you to call Warren Sanders down at Teleco Village down there with the Teleco Village User Access Program. And they'll bless you with a computer. I was like, get out of here. You know, like the Lord, this is just, I'm starting to see Lord working, y'all. And because stuff was coming too fast. Like, because I'm obedient to what God told me to do, stuff is just happening. So I called them. They said, yeah, come on down here and get a computer. So when I get to driving, I said, well, Lord, where am I going? Chattanooga. You know, because I'm driving. I'm like, Lord, I thought it was close. But I get there, and it's Lenore City. I'm going to Teleco Village. Meet the people. We get it off real good. So when they helped me, I said, well, I thank you for blessing me. But it's over. I said, I got a lot of people in this program I'm getting ready to do, and I'm getting ready trying to start up. And I said, they're going to need computers. And I said, households need computers. And blah, blah, blah. He said, well, give me your 501 form and da, da, da. We'll just partner and I'll bless you and start helping you. Do y'all know that from 2014 till today, we have blessed over 1,100 families with free desktop computer systems, printers, the paper, the speakers, keyboard, mouse, everything you need so you can set up shop in your house. So God had us ahead of the game before this COVID hit with computers, because a lot of families had computers in their homes through this program. Some of them had new ones because we keep them updated. If you had an XP and it went to Vista, we updated you. If you had a Vista and it went to Windows 7, we update you. If you got a Windows 7, it goes to a Windows 8, we update you. If we was now in Windows 10, guess what? All of them Windows 8s, we update them to 10. So everybody that gets computers, we keep you updated. We give you laptops, we give you apples. I mean, God has totally blessed me, and their information is in here too, and it's on our website. So the partnership came, so God was already orchestrating everything. And so now we've been adjacent since 2014. We're right here in the Holston Shopping Center, Holston Plaza down here, where Hardee's is. It's a little plaza there where Amvex used to be. Well, our church, Honey Rock Victorious Church, has the whole plaza now. So we've been there a good while, and we have the church on one end. We took over the thrift store, because the thrift store is down west now, Amvex is down west in the Windsor Shopping Plaza. And then on the other end is a 7,800 square foot facility that God himself, along with the overseer and pastor of Honey Rock Victorious Church, made me the executive director over the facility. It has 5 offices and 3,500 square foot to host events, our plays, our workforce program. In praise, 'cause praise is who I am, and I will praise him while I can, 'cause I lift my hands in praise. For I vow to praise you through the good and the bad. I praise you whether happy or sad, 'cause I'll praise you, God, in all that I go through, because praise is what? Because praise is what? Because praise is what I will do. God bless you.
Thank you.
It's not about what you think anymore. It's about me being obedient and you watch what God does. And that's the attitude I took. It says in Mark 11:24, whatever I ask for in prayer, I have to believe that I've received it. And it's mine and it's done. So if I'm already expecting the miracle, then that's why I walked in. Just like I said, I'm going to be a millionaire bookseller. It's going to happen. And y'all going to be like, that girl was in my past and I got her book. But guess what? I'm going to come back. You feel me? Because I'm from here. My life started here at Fifth Avenue. Like the number 5 is grace. God started my life here. My morals and my values were entered in my life here. You know, God, I found God. It means that much to me. So when I was asked to come here, I was like, God's full circle is where I had to die to myself to do what he's called me to do. And my children, even though I lost the 2, he showed me that he gave them back to me through my last son. He said, I took the top of this child and the bottom of this one, he gave me Jalen. So my son, who is the youngest, looks like them. But he was the one that was born autistic. And I was so scared of him dying because I had buried the other ones. But God took my focus off him dying so that I could focus on him living, because he had a disability that took my focus off him dying, because now I had to help him live. So I say, God, I thank you because so many people are hurting and I get it.
I used to be judgmental. I left East Knoxville and moved out west to try to get away and do better because I thought if I move out west, my kids are going to make it. But that's when my daughter died. She was found dead at a daycare center. I dropped her off at daycare center and went to pick my daughter up from daycare center, and she had been dead 3 hours in that woman's home. And no one claimed to know. And I shared it with y'all in this book. So I had to come back to East Knoxville because I was shameful, like, Lord, if I'd have never left and maybe if I'd have put her here, she'd be here. So I walked in a lot of hurt for a long time because I didn't bring my kids, them 2 kids here. My other kids came here and they're still here. I'm not lying. And I said, God, what was it? And I really feel in my heart if I would have brought my other kids here, they would be here. But I didn't. So that's what haunted me for years. So when my youngest son was born with autism, it was a struggle, but it was real because he took him straight out of it. He turned 9, and I was in a homeless shelter. I left my husband. He was very abusive, and I left. Lord said, I don't want you indebted to nobody. You don't go deal with nobody. Don't pay nobody's bills. Ain't your responsibility right now. It's me and you. So we went to the Joy Baker Center. I donate to them privately because they blessed me. I had to even do y'all. But I went down there and God told us to give everything, surrender everything to Joy Baker Center. So I was driving a Mustang at the time. I donated all my stuff, our clothes, and left my husband. And in that Joy Baker Center, my son that's now talking, he was 9, never talked, uttered words, but didn't really talk. And in that center, he gave his shoes away. And I was like, where are your shoes at? I knew he wasn't going to say nothing to me, but God told me to ask him anyway. I said, where are your shoes at? He said, Mama, God told me to give this boy my shoes. And right there, he started talking at that center. And after the encounter with God happened, because it wasn't his voice at first. It was like a grown man's voice. And then it became a kid's voice. So I know it was God. And then my son, this is what got me. He said, I could talk the whole time. My son told me he could talk the whole time. His best friend, he had a friend that he connected with that was 2 years younger than him, but became his voice. You know, he was his voice. I had him spending the night with that one little friend he could be with all the time. But his friend told me, he said, well, I wasn't going to say nothing, but now that the cat's out the bag, he used to talk to me. So for 9 years, he would talk. They had him on medicine. We wondered why the medicine wasn't working. He wouldn't take it. Now he was talking. He knew he couldn't. He could talk. And he did have some delays. But he could talk. But he just never talked. Because he said, God told him not to. And that blew my mind. So I knew that encounter at 9. I was like, okay, God, this is a new beginning. Or maybe it's a new beginning. I was like, okay, God, but I see what God was doing the whole setup, y'all. When I look back at my life and I share these stories and I go talk to people, they didn't know. I mean, it's some people that sat right up under me. They were just like, sure, I didn't know. I was like, no, it wasn't that you didn't know, you didn't care. Because I was going through. We had funerals when I had my baby, so y'all saw my kids in the paper. Because that's the first thing we did was buy the paper and go to the obituary. So y'all saw my baby's pictures. But y'all just didn't care. So the little, when I went astray and lost, like I said, but when God gave me Jalen, and he started showing me what to do with Jalen, I got it. So it was a lot of vegetables. He took him off a lot of meat. He didn't hardly eat meat. To this day, my son don't like a lot of meat. So I know red meat has a factor. He didn't do a lot of dairy. I put him on almond and coconut milk, goat milk. I didn't try goat milk. He liked it when he was small. But I took him, he ate a lot of nuts. Now, put him on a lot of nuts. I mean, I buy them trail mixes and all that stuff. That's all my son loves. But I know that the antioxidants and those things that it says anything you need to heal your body come from the earth. So I looked at stuff and be like, well, if it didn't come out the ground, you can't eat it. And he understood it. And to this day, he's like that. Mama, that didn't come out the ground. Should we be eating that? I'm like, no, we really should. If it didn't come from a tree or it didn't come from a seed, then maybe we shouldn't eat it. And he is 21, about to be 22. But that was what I instilled in him. But see, he taught me too, because it was all about the seed to him. I used to think it was so strange. He loved seeds, sunflower seeds, like that stuff. But he was always like, Mama, all you need is faith of a mustard seed. You know, he's going, Mama, all you need is faith of a mustard seed. I'd be like, a mustard seed? What the heck is a mustard seed? But as I got closer to God, and I was realizing what he was talking about the mustard seed. I'm looking at my son, he was eating a lot of seeds. He was eating seeds. He was And I'm thinking, oh my God, he beat autism, y'all, because he went back to the grain. So with your babies, put them on, take them back to the grain. Everything, all their seasonings, I didn't use seasonal, Lorry, none of that stuff. Everything came from the grain. It wasn't turmeric or cinnamon, or it was, all of it came from the earth. My baby is 22, and he came here to the daycare. He came here to the daycare. He was the tallest one. He's so tall, he's 6'4", and he beat this thing. But he came to the daycare, and even when he came to the daycare, he talked. They knew something was wrong with him, you know what I'm saying? But he was a life of party. Everybody loved him, but he was a little mean because he would kick stuff. And through his autism, people that have autism, they have triggers, and his trigger was kicking. So even though it became a behavioral problem in school, we had to learn to let him kick. So give him a ball. Let it make sense. If that's his trigger, you gotta let it out, because what it is a seizure. A trigger is a seizure. So if you don't let it out and you torment the seizure, you make it worse. So if you, what you doing, that? They're seasoned. You just don't realize it's a season. So they spaz and they kick. Once you quit kicking, they're seasoned. Let them kick. But you got to target it and say, come on, we're going to take this ball outside. You kick all you want, you just going to quit kicking my table. They understand. We're going outside to do kickball for a little while. I'm skinny the way I was, I feel, because honey, they kept me, I was kicking ball, and I loved it. But I'm just as toned. I'm 49. I'm like, honey, I'm stronger than some of y'all in high schools. Try it. You know? But I feel it in my bones. But that's what it was. It was just, and now I teach women, and I have every second Saturday of the month, we have a grief support group there at my organization where we're bringing people together. We're dealing with certain griefs and loss. So you didn't have to loss just through death, but just sometimes you lose yourself because you just don't know. You just, I'm lost. This is new to us. Nobody understands, and people don't want to keep them. And I got a girl right now, her son is still, his head is real small. So his triggers, he hollers a lot. So I would trigger, he would do triggers, and so as I taught him things, he loved SpongeBob. So I didn't take SpongeBob away from him. Everything I taught him was through SpongeBob. His counting, numbers, colors, everything was happy SpongeBob. So when I taught him what color is that, you can have it. Purple. Okay, you can have it. So you know, he figured it out because he couldn't have it till he did. Because like my son, I'd say he loved Hot Wheel cars. So he learned his colors through Hot Wheel cars. He did not like flashcards. You put flashcards in front of him, honey, it was just like, oh my God, like you just make him stupid. You feel me? So he didn't like, and the teacher's going off and they didn't understand him. Oh, he's gonna be in detention. What you gonna put him in detention for? Give him some cars. What you need to give him some cars? Give him some race cars. So I went and bought him some Hot Wheel cars. And so the way I would trigger him is, but it got me in the long run. I say that he put all these cars in the buggy. I go, you can have them as long as you tell me what color they are. What did I say that for? Purple, yellow, green. I mean, he just about 9 cars in. I'm like, oh my God, $30. But I had to eat my words, because that's what I told him. So then I was learning. You better watch what you say. You tell them to pick out 3 cars. If you can tell me 3 colors, you can have 3 cars. I started getting smart because he was outsmarting me. They autistic, but they're not stupid. You feel me? So I'm telling you, if we can get together, you call my card. I get with you. Get them in my program, because I teach them things that you'll just be like, oh my God. Like her son, when he was bad in school, he would get that report, red, yellow, green, right? Okay, he knew when it was red, he knew he was in trouble, but he loved cookies. That was his treat after school to give him his medicine. So I said, well, this is what we're going to do. She started punishing him, not giving him his cookies. But that became a trigger. So now he's strict, why stress him out? This is what we're going to do. He loved baked cookies. So what will happen is, hot cookies when you're good, cold cookies when you're bad. Cause I'm a win either way it goes. My son he would just look at me. I said, I'm gonna win. And I would look at him. I'm gonna win. But then he looked at me. I'm gonna win. I said, exactly. You can still get a cookie, but I'm not baking them when they're red. When you bring the red one home, you're not baking no cookies today. But you can still have some vanilla wafers. You can have a little cookie jar. You can get some cookies out there, and he be mad, but he still can have a cookie. He ain't mad, right? But I treated it. I upped the game up. He said, you've been used to vanilla wafers the whole time. That's what your mama been giving you, right? Yep, oatmeal cake and all that. But we gonna up your game up. You don't bring me no red one home, I'm gonna bake you some. Your mama gonna bake hot cookies. You know what he said to me? Hot cookies. I said, hot cookies. So now when he walks in the door, hot cookies, mama. You feel me? Because she already know he been good. Because you got to learn to trigger them the way that's going to help them make their behavior good. You know, one of the kids loved to put up the dishes, but was scared of the knives. So I said, as long as the knives was out on the table, he would trigger. And wouldn't do the dish, wouldn't do it. I said, so this is what you do. Everybody eating on. Don't announce that everybody's finished yet, because when you say that, it's triggering him because he knows he's got to get the knives. So what you do is go ahead and get the knives. When you get through, you kind of look at everybody. Look, okay. So you go ahead and pick the bottom knives, and you can get through. Because then when you sit back down, he ain't paying no attention to you. He ain't paying no attention to what you just did. Now you can say, all right, everybody, you get ready to get up. Sweetheart, I need you to go ahead and clear the table up. As soon as he clears that table, ain't no knife. He got the bucket, and he goes to work. She never had a problem ever again. But the trigger can't always sound nice. So all I'm saying is I teach kids, every kid is different. But microphones work, because it gives them a voice. They'll be walking around the house, Mama! And you'll be like, what? But that's what you want. Because otherwise, whatever they were stressing and dealing with, you know. Anybody else got anything? Well, that was a good one, Auntie.
Sure, we do thank you
You got it.
so much for being with us tonight.
Yes, well, everybody got one. Yes, ma'am.
And I'm assuming the little brochure has contact information. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Any final word before we go?
My son's first son at 4 years old was so I hope you're not allergic to cats. You know, that's only how much fun I've had our house.
I would like to mention something.
Yeah, sure.
I noticed that y'all are still having problems with the boiler. Right?
Well, at least we're having problems with the piping.
Right. The place that my company rents their property from is from Boiler Supply over on Middlebrook. And if y'all want, I can get their contact information, maybe try them out.
Boiler Equipment Company sent me an email late last night, actually, apologizing for not getting back out today or by today to take care of the second pipe. We're on their list, so I don't think it will be too much longer. They did the one thing, it was taken care of, but in the process of doing that, we discovered that the other pipe was also rotted out completely at the bottom.
So if y'all have any other issues,
No.
the guy, the Boiler Supply, I literally run into the owner every day, every morning.
Well, it's good to know, you know, every building, public building, used to have a boiler.
Yeah.
And it's rare anymore with this forced air systems that come into place. But thank you, Michael. Can you give us a new church around the world? No.
These guys are pretty good. They got a couple of work
They
trucks.
might do that, huh? Well, listen, thank you for being here tonight, everyone. And, let's stand together for one minute. Father, we thank you for Sherry, for her testimony, for her life, and for her commitment to others. We ask that you continue to bless her and use her in the kingdom's work. May we, in this church, find our place in the kingdom of God and the things that he would have us to do. In Jesus' name. You got out of here.
He can go to the homeless, because don't y'all give out, don't y'all have a pantry?
Yes, we do.
It could be a blessing.
May I take two?
leave out.
Well, just that I didn't want to. I will fix some,
I'm not quite sure why, but.
I just got gifted the 2 more bags, that's why I'm trying to find those that could use.
You mentioned like reading.
I'm thinking Easter breakfast.
There's a plaza right across from Harding.
I have never made
Plaza used to be Everett's thrift store.
hash browns. I have no idea.
But now we have the whole plaza, so it's Honeyworth and
Don't
Church.
get me wrong right away, but I'm not sure it's something that.
7,800 square foot. that we
If you
can
want me to
make
make hash browns, that I can do, I've got a hot iron fryer.
You got what?
I've got 2 hot iron fryers, 'cause I don't cook in grease. But all you do is shred them up, put what seasoning you
Put 'em in the hot air
might on them, and then you put them in the hot air fryer and you toast them.
Let's check with some of the ladies in the hospitality committee and see what they think about you bringing fresh hash browns.
I can do that, because I've already signed up to sell orange juice, if you need me while I'm out there, it's not like I can't reach over to the next shelf and grab the apple juice, I figured I'll wait to see who else signs up on that.
Just getting ready to go.
So forth, but yeah, that's,
You've been given the potatoes, right? It's not like you
I own
got-
the potatoes, they're sitting in my house
So
right
it's
now.
just a matter-
And all I need to do is,
I need to turn this off.
turn on my food
Wait.
processor. If I
Also,
can-
yes.